Yo, can you guys hear me? Just let me know quick. Okay, that's good. Let's start with the stream. Hope everyone's doing good. Hope everyone's having a good time. And we are having first day of the week, first New York Open of the week. So let's start with a bit of initial thoughts on the market. We got some decent moves on Bitcoin and on majors over the weekend. ETH kind of going into the weekend, we broke this 4K area. We'll talk about that too. But for now, Bitcoin move above 120K to me seemed really good. We longed at this retest and this lower time frame cool off. So far, it's getting close to our invalidation. It could probably still survive, but it's a 1.3% scalp long that if we are proven wrong, then I'd probably look for the weekend gap to be filled and ideally into this 115, 116K area. On the other hand, if we do survive on this long, I do like the way we closed higher time frames above this 120K area. This 120K was something that capped us for a very long time after we made our first all-time highs a month ago, and since then this region has capped us, and that was pretty much our range highs when we were trading back in July, right? And to me, this flip was something I wanted to try. Not the best response as I would have expected. And if we do end up getting proven wrong, which would be that it starts showing weakness below 119, that's my invalidation. It's a manual invalidation of 2 consecutive 5-minute closes below. If we get that, then I'll just stay patient on scalps and instead look for a push into 115K area to start bidding again on intraday longs. So that's what I have on Bitcoin. We are also seeing some dominance reversal, which is kind of good. Since we made these new all-time highs on Bitcoin and you got the ETH strength, we haven't seen a proper Bitcoin rotation in a Bitcoin lead in the market, which is kind of what you want to see if you want to be bullish on market midterm. That from here onwards, after this ETH breakout, things can take a back seat, including majors and ETH and rest of the alts, and Bitcoin takes the leads into new highs. That would be the most bullish outcome out of this weekend move that we can get. Now, moving on to the majors, first and the best looking chart right now is ETH. We previously swing longed this at this 2930 sweep. We TP'd our swing fully at around 3950-ish. We got paid well on some of the shots we tried following that as well. And this range break that we have been in on ETH this entire cycle now finally seems to be broken above. And this is where I want to be trying another ETH swing. I'm already in 60 to 70% of the exposure. I do have some bids left below, closer to 4K area, even though I don't want that clean retest to happen, to be honest, because if you people follow me, I'm not a believer of immediate retests of some bullish breaks, right? So for me, we should just be consolidating here a lower time frame, and as long as we do, I think we are looking still decent for a move towards 4500. That's my first take profit on our ETH swing, and eventually into new all-time highs where I look to TP fully on my ETH position. So in summary, I think as long as we are holding this multi-year range highs on ETH that we broke last Friday, I believe, we look decent. We look decent. So ETH looks good. Bitcoin, if we hold above 120, still looks good. This could very much just be a sweep below 120, reclaim above, and we can be good on our long. If not, then I'm looking at 116 till 115K area. This area below these weekend lows. If these get filled, these would in turn be good long opportunities on Bitcoin. Now moving on to other majors that we can have on the market. Sol, I still think Sol isn't something you should be focused much. It's one of the most boring assets, most boring majors you can be trading for the past few weeks, a month or two, even, especially ever since ETH got all the traction. Sol has been lagging, and I expect it to be the same. But even if you want to be bullish on Sol higher time frame, the least you want it to do is break out of this range. So Sol has given one of the cleanest higher time frame range on a major you can have this cycle. where 190 is your range highs. This is also your recent yearly open, where we opened on January, and this proves to be um, good midterm level for you to have on your chart. And if we do end up flipping above this 189 190 area, that's where you can start to get bullish back on Sol and look for some ETH to Sol rotation. But as long as we are just doing this below these yearly open and these range highs levels, I'm not too much interested in trading Sol, to be honest. On the other hand, if in coming time it continues being weak and gives this mid-range retest, which is around 160, you can try along. But as I said, Sol isn't something I'm too interested in. One major I am interested in, which is kind of also bleeding today because of the dominant strength. But I do think that eventually, once SUI gives you this yearly open and this range high break, it could be the leading major L1 major that you have after ETH. So the second major, I'm really bullish in coming weeks, especially if we do continue the strength on the rest of the market. I can see SUI outperforming Sol. I have shared the SUI to Sol chart as well, and I do think eventually it breaks out and SUI leads. But for that and for me to position into SUI, I need this yearly open and this range high reclaim. Once we do get this break above, I think it would be one of the cleanest plays that you can take with first targets around 4.9, and then we can see whether we can target new all-time highs on it or not. ETH to BTC. Another reason I'm saying that we could see BTC taking the lead is that ETH to BTC is approaching one of the most important macro levels you have on this higher time frame chart, right? So let me zoom out a bit. Yeah, I think this weekly chart is recent. So you can see that this area, this yellow box on ETH to BTC, which was also your March 16 highs, which was also the lows around 2017. And this was also your highs back during the 2018, 2019 bear market. And you also have your yearly open around the exact area, right? So yearly open on ETH to BTC is around 3500s. So what I can see ETH to BTC doing is that it takes a while before it eventually breaks out from this level. While BTC takes the lead and eventually ETH to BTC catches up as well, which would be the most healthiest outcome you can have in the market. You do want Bitcoin to be leading, right? You don't want these majors and these alts to continue outperforming Bitcoin because since 110K break, the first move that you had from 110 to 125 is the only Bitcoin move you had over the past few months now, right? And you eventually want that to change and want Bitcoin to take a lead into 130, 140. And I think we can have prolonged fun in the market to play. So, yeah, that's what I have initially on the market. As usual, I'd love to know from you people how your trading has been. What do you think about the market? How are you positioned currently? Or anything in general you want to be talking about? Feel free to do so. Can we check where is the CME gap HBJ? Ram, I'll be honest, I don't know how to do that to be honest because I never trade CME gaps. I think you can go on to the Bitcoin CME chart and see from there. But I'm assuming since we closed on Friday around 116, I believe, and we opened on CME futures open around like 119, 120. So the gap lies in between, right? 116 till 119, I believe. 118, I believe. Yeah. So we have New York open in 13 minutes. Meanwhile, we can have some discussions if you people want. When does Griffin up? I'll let you know when the Griffin team emails me about the time, right? Hasn't been a pattern of whatever move happens on a Sunday. Example, BTC and ETH pumping on the Sunday and on Monday drop happens and vice versa. We have seen that in the past. I do agree, but we have also seen weekends pump sustaining in bullish conditions, right? Like a good example I can find is this. Like you can look at this move where ETH broke above 2800 back in November 24, which was a Saturday and Sunday. And then on a Monday, we kept on pushing up into 3500s, right? There are multiple examples. Again, depends on how risk on we are still, right? And how burgers react in New York Open. But I could see that playing out. I do agree, especially if we are not able to hold above 119, then I could see us retracing the weekend move that we got. How are we getting on board on ENA? I do want to be honest. Let's look at ENA. I think the weekly demand that we just formed, if you get to play that in this week, somewhere around this week. So this is the fresh weekly demand that we formed. If in coming days you get this retest, that's where I'd want to scale in. This would be such a nice retest on ENF given this week. So anything around 70 down till 60. 70 till 60 is your TCA zone on ENA on any retest given this week. What is the outcome for the month and for September till FOMC? I think we're going to pump into FOMC and price the rate cut. And I'm not a macro trader, so I'll not be able to comment that well on it. I'll just trade intraday based on my levels. And to me, especially as long as ETH is holding above this range breakout, I am bullish for remaining part of August. If we start bleeding back below these range highs and invalidate our ETH swing, then I'll be really skeptical on the market. We'll look on your alts request once we get the New York Open and we observe like first 5-10 minutes of New York Open, then the remaining 20-30 minutes of the stream. We'll talk about alts for now. Like if you have general market discussion, more of based on your trading and how you're positioned, that's something I'd like to have right now while we observe how New York opens. How come there was no BTC short call? I have attended the Reeks broadcast yesterday and heard the resistance around 20k and probable pullback. I think you mean 120k, right? But we did push into like 122. How come there was no BTC short call? So do you expect the traders to catch every single move on the market? That is impossible, man. What level on BTC do you think we need to hold if this weekend pump was real and going to, what level on BTC do you think we need to hold if this weekend pump was real and going to lead to new highs? This exact area where we are on, right? 119 till 120. If not, I can see us bleeding further, much lower into these weekend lows getting filled. So then probably 115, 116. Uh, are you profitable by following it? By following what? Memes are taking the strongest hit right now. And I think that continues. That memes would lag short to mid term and utility stuff takes the lead. ETH is still looking decent, to be honest. It reminds me of this consolidation we had after this push up where we swing long. So as long as we are just doing this, we can eventually aim for a leg higher. I'm not complaining. I'm just checking if there was a technical reason to not go short at that level. I didn't have a trigger. If anyone else had, then good for him. As a trader, your job isn't to catch every single move, right? The sooner you realize that, the more peace you'd have with your trading. I'm short and long in Bitcoin, so we'll wait a bit to see how to manage. Makes sense, makes sense. 114 till 115. Hmm. Where did we close the 3 day? Hmm. We could have see. I'd ideally expect us to hold this 116 retest, to be honest. Like, this is your daily demand, right? The daily demand we pushed off from. So if you are losing 119, my next area would be like 116. New York open in 5 minutes. Going to be interesting. One trade I'm looking at is the Zora. We might take it on stream. A scalp long if it's reclaiming this 1318 area. I have alert set. If we reclaim, we'll take a long for a move back into highs and probably higher. Can I ask about Griffin? Yes, I am still in. The reason I am still playing Griffin is that I liked the push AI gave over the weekend, and we had a really good weekly and a daily close. And I can see after these weekly closes on some of these AI agents to eventually be continuing in coming days this week. So if AI bounces from this recent bleed after the weekly close, I can see Griffin catching up as well, like it did yesterday. So I'm going to play it for full setup today. Can you explain why Coinbase Premium on BTC is so relevant? I've been watching since the morning. Binance perps when there's more buyers than sellers in Coinbase when its opposite price keeps dropping. Do you have thoughts on this? It's like kind of a understood concept in the market that first of all Coinbase is a spot market, right? And that's where a lot of your institutional bets come from, right? If I'm not wrong, a lot of Coinbase ETF buying is also done through Coinbase. So a Coinbase premium means that it's trading at a higher price compared to other exchanges. And since it's a spot only exchange and it having a higher price than your rest of Binance, let's say like a Binance Perps exchange, kind of indicates you that there is a good amount of spot buying going into Bitcoin, right? And usually the bullish moves are where it's supported by strong spot flows, right? So whenever Coinbase is trading at a premium, it isn't always like 100% accuracy indicators. A lot of time it could be that it's not that Coinbase is bidding due to which you are getting the premium. It might be that Binance is shorting aggressively. That results in a Binance price being lower than the Coinbase price, hence you getting the Coinbase premium, right? So it's not always that Coinbase premium means that institutions are buying and there is a lot of spot strength and it's bullish. Sometimes it could be that it's just a lot of shorting going on rest of the exchanges that's causing this premium to happen. So for that you can just observe the flow through platforms like Trading Light, Aggregate, Age, GGR, Bitcoin, and multiple others to see what the spot flow on these exchanges look like. But just to give you an idea why people tend to follow Coinbase Premium a lot is it kind of gives you an indication on how the market is positioning on Bitcoin, right? What's your playing full setup mean? Playing full setup means that you are letting your play run till either your target or your invalidation. Will you be looking at virtual too? I can have a look. I haven't looked at it in a while. It's another AI agent that could move good too. Ah man. Uh, I'm looking at AI agents that are like moving decent recently, like Griffin, AVI. It might eventually catch up with the rest, but not the best looking right now. Trump analysis, please just wait a minute. Let's first like survive the first 10 minutes of this New York Open, which is exactly which just opened right now. So let's observe these first 10 minutes and then I'll take an alt request. Good morning, Nokido. How you doing, brother? Can you catch the next time Magic goes up? I'll try. We believe in you. Thanks. We did catch a good AVI trade over the weekend, which was like a 40% move to catch, so not complaining here. Uh, can the burgers not sell this time? Can for once New York Open be good to me? Banana Zone? Banana Zone reminds me, where has Hasaka been for a while now? I think he retired. Fatcoin link. Let's just like as I said, just wait 10 minutes and then I'll take in your alt request. I want to see how New York opens. It has already opened, but I want to observe first few minutes of it. What did you share? If Bitcoin follows the heat map, I know map. Heat map is I think one of the. I know. I don't use it. I think it's kind of misleading to be honest. Can you maybe also add your risk percentage when you call P's? Kind of same as the REIC 1% risk. For me to be giving out risk, I do kind of tell when to risk, when the conditions are risk on and when are not. Like I kept on warning for the past 2 weeks of bleed in job. Now I think it's conditions to be risk on, especially on ETH and alts, on good reclaims and stuff. But to be mentioning percentage risk on every single call, I think it's a bit too hectic for me to be honest. If Zora gives this reclaim, we might long. We will long actually. Like I've been waiting for this reclaim since morning. We have seen so many bearish tweets. It's time for a rise. Let's see. Let's see. We have 95 people on the stream. Not bad. HBJ is still on mute. No man. We are talking for a while now. We come to watch a liquidation. I don't mind to be honest. It's just a scalp with a 1.3% stop loss. I can take it any time of the day. Oh. Hmm. ETH is still holding pretty decent when compared to rest of the majors and alts market. A lot of stuff got sold off heavy in the small BTC pullback, while ETH is just ranging horizontally, which is a good thing to see, to be honest. Okay, so far in slow New York Open. So now spam the chat with your alts request. We'll have a look quick link. I have a spot position holding, and I think it's one of the most bullish charts on a ETH related higher cap, to be honest. So looks really good. Let me rechart it quick. I know why my charts get lost, but this is the weekly level we had, and we had a really bullish weekly close. We also broke above yearly open, which was the same level where we rejected back in mid of July. So we closing above this yearly open and this weekly level makes me really bullish, especially if ETH continues trending up after this range breakout. Link could be a good ETH beta to be exposed to. So I have a spot position from like 21 running, and I will not mind adding more if we get any retest in coming times, like anything closer to 19.5, even 20 area. I'll add more to my spot pack, but I can see this chart trending higher in coming days towards 28, 29. Ideally, like the major target I have on my link position is 33, 34, this area. I think this gets tapped if ETH holds the range break. So, yeah, good looking chart. I'd say just avoid the chop, get some spot exposure, leave bits to add, have like, I'd say a 18%, like 17.5, 17.7 should be on validation, and aim for a 50% move in coming times. Pretty good risk to return, if you ask me, to be honest. So, yeah, links done. Sol, we discussed in the start of the stream. I don't think Sol is something you should be focused too much. It will continue lagging, in my opinion. The only time I could be interested in playing Sol and being short to midterm bullish on it is if eventually we are able to break above this 190 area on Sol, which is also your yearly open, right? So anything above yearly open, I'd say a lot of majors look the same where they are struggling below yearly open. The top of mind I could think is Sol, SUI, ADA, Cardano, ETC. So these are like top of the mind majors I have which are struggling below yearly open. All you have to do is just set alerts above yearly open on them. And once you start seeing some acceptance above, that's where you start scaling into them, right? And as long as they are trading below, Zora alert. Wait a minute. Where is Zora? Fuck. Don't go without us. The only issue with me longing here is that, like, it'll be a really wide stop, man. How's the flow on Zora looking? So, meanwhile, I'm just confirming the flow on Zora. I'll end the Sol discussion by saying that on a lot of these higher caps, you just pull out your yearly open level, which you can do through the Spaceman BTC indicator. And once they get above yearly open, you start getting exposed to them. If they don't, you ignore them, for right? Looks decent, to be honest. SUI spot, please. The same for SUI, right? So very similar to Sol. I am bullish on it in midterm, but I'd only get exposed to it once it flips yearly open, right? Which is also kind of your range highs this entire year, ever since we sold off back in January, right? So this area has capped SUI for a long time, and this is also your yearly open. So once you get acceptance above yearly open, which is 4.1, that's where I'd want to start getting into it. Where's Zora? Okay, let's try. I'll probably call it as an unofficial scalp, to be honest, for the group. Yeah, I've entered. Uh, the first target is sweep of the highs, which is like a 0.7 hour, and remaining we'll see what we get, right? The stops below the recent lows. Just set first TP around these highs. Once these get taken out, we'll move stops break even and see if we can get further move up. Okay, spam with further alts request. Meanwhile, so I hope you get the point of the yearly open on a lot of majors, right? Like another one I can remember on top of mind is Cardano. It looks really good, but it's also another chart that's struggling below this yearly open level, right? You can see me having this alert above yearly open. Once we flip this, we'll long Cardano for a move into these highs. So this is a really good probability setup that I have my eyes on. And I think I mentioned this in my corner yesterday too. Like the AI long we took, it was at the quarterly open reclaim, right? And I think in the coming few weeks, if you want to catch good alts rotation, you just set alerts around yearly open and quarterly open reclaims, and I believe those would present some good trading opportunities. So if Cardano flips this yearly open, that would be a really good spot buy or a long for a move into 1.15 at least. So you'd be able to catch a good 20, 30%, 30, 35% move on it. So on a lot of alts, just have these alerts set. Okay, did we survive our BTC position? Are burgers being good to us for the first time? Thanks. Someone said ENS. ENS could be good. I agree. Another ETH beta play. Let's start it up. Doesn't look bad, to be honest. So this was a weekly supply that we broke down from back in Feb 25. The same supply we rejected back in May 19, mid of May. And finally, we are flipping this weekly supply, which makes it a good weekly breaker to scale around. So I'd say like if you want to get into ENS as a ETH beta play, even though I like ENA and ENA and Link as a better play compared to the rest, but this could perform decent too if our ETH plan plays out and ETH pushes into new highs. ENS could do decent as well. So how your play could look like is that you start scaling in around this weekly breaker. You have a manual invalidation below 23.5, so which would be like a 4-hour close, and you scale around this block this week and look to sell around like 38 as a first TP. 51 as a second, and probably like I think 50 should be a final target if you're buying ENS. So yeah, this is what I have on ENS. See BTC, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. Burgers didn't take us out this time, which is like first in 1 millionth time. Zora is looking good. 3% move so far. Just set alerts around these highs, and we should be good. Give me anything else interesting to talk about. If BTC pumps at New York Open in the first 15 to 30 minutes, it's usually retrace. I hope this time is different. I kind of agree, to be honest. So I hope the burgers don't make us excited over this bounce and then later on sell on us. But I'll still stick to my plan, to be honest. I will not complicate things. CRV, I'm holding my spot buy that I gave in the challenge. It's trading weird, but I think if you are taking a small size on it, like we just bought with a 50% size on our challenge, and you just let it run over a time, it could catch up well with ETH. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not checking it frequently. I just think the way this higher time frame chart looks, our invalidation is pretty easy, which is below yearly open. I don't want it to revisit below yearly open again if we are bullish on CRV. And I'm looking at this trend break for a good 20-30% move for us to TP on our challenge in CRV coming days. So looks decent. Our challenge trade is what you can take if you want to get exposed to CRV. You opened Zora, yes. I just said on stream that I entered. I even shared in my corner. It's up 3%. I'm looking for my first target around these highs. ETH is looking good, man. I don't think there's zero reason to be bearish on ETH right now. Like a lot of people tend to overcomplicate things. Like for example, when we got this flip, a lot of people started waiting for a good pullback to enter. But the point is, if you're bullish, things just tend to grind up after good high time frame breaks, right? I'm not saying I cannot be wrong, and ETH is definitely going up. Obviously, you when you are trading, you talks and ifs and buts. But to me, if you're bullish, we shouldn't be getting some deeper pullback, especially after a range break that almost lasted for multiple years, right? This has been the range on ETH for almost 2 years. And now that we are breaking out of it, I don't see a reason why you shouldn't be bullish on it, right? We reached 4.5K today. All I would say is if you want to be playing ETH and make really good profits out of it in coming days, do as we are doing in the trades call, right? Like I got a low leverage position. I'm checking it barely like once or twice a day. And as long as this is above this area, I'm not looking to complicate, because if you're observing lower time frame price action too much in these conditions, you can get fudded out, and you might end up not following your plan, right? Like pretty much what we did. So the what we did the last time when we entered this ETH swing around here, once we entered, it almost took like, as long as I remember, it was 10th July when we entered, and it finally started running around like 15th, 16th of July. So for almost like 5 to 6 days, it did nothing once we entered, right? It was just ranging around our entry in small profits. And that's what I'm expecting right now as well. Just don't overcomplicate. Just don't expect ETH to make new all time highs in a single candle, but just zoom out, have low leverage, wider and validation play. And as long as we are holding above, eventually you expect it to perform decent, right? Just don't focus too much on lower time frame price action. I'm best. You're underwater on your fart coin long. I know what to say about that because I'm not too concerned on memes right now. I don't think memes are something I want to be trying short term. I'm a big meme. I have been a big meme. What do you say? Supporter this cycle, right? Like if you've been following my streams, and back in May and June, we constantly talked about how to be accumulating memes for the next leg up, and we did got paid well with our positions on, let's say, like Pengu and Mog and all those spot pies we did on memes. But this time, I kind of have a feeling that memes isn't something you should be focused on, and ETH DeFi's and some of the utility stuff is where you'd see the major rotation happening. Hey mate, can you give an update on the BTC scalp? There is no update, to be honest. We are in the scalp, either stop loss or our targets. I don't see what we can do in the middle. Stop loss below the low. Follow the call in the trade section, man. That's the invalidation, which is two consecutive 5 minutes close below 119,060. I hate having hard stop loss on my BTC plays. The reason being is the only time I had in over the past few months is here. And if you people remember, we got stopped Pico bottom on a actually got wicked on a 1 minute candle Pico bottom. And that was that's something you really hate, to be honest. That's why I don't mostly have hard stops on my BTC scalps. I don't like to be wicked out. Yeah, that was painful. What else do we have? Anything interesting that I'm missing? So we have also CPI tomorrow, so would be interesting to see how things unfold going into CPI. Pump. Let's look at pump. I hope you are talking about pump fund, right? Or is it the other pump? Okay. Uh it's tapping this supply that we broke down from towards like July end. Not somewhere I'd want to get in. So I could expect like it trades really weird, to be honest. So it's not something on top of my list to be pushing on. So if it does something like this where it consolidates around here and at some stage over the month it gives us this 8-hour supply flip, that's my long trigger. That's where we can long it for a move into 55, 60 cents, not 60 cents, 6 cents. Okay, no, sorry, zero point 0.6 cents, whatever. But yeah, I want this 8-hour supply to be flipped for me to be trying any position. We just tapped the supply, so not interested in longing it here. You're welcome. Can I check RSR? RSR. I haven't heard about this ticker in almost like 2 years now. Is it still alive? Wow. Wait, isn't looking as bad as I would have expected it to. I think it can do decent, to be honest. This doesn't look bad. I think if we are able to break above this like prolonged consolidation, which is like above 0106, and we start closing above like 8 hours, 12 hours above, I think you can try something for a mean reversion. Not to be longing or buying right here because it's below a big macro res. The same level where we rejected back in like mid of July, the same level we rejected back in April 25, and multiple times in the past you can see, right? So it's not an area where you'd want to long or buy. But on the same hand, if you are able to get this flip, just where you just set alerts and do nothing for now, but if we are able to get this flip, that's where you can start getting exposed to it. I think BTC is playing with us. No one is doing nothing to you, man. It's just market. It's just what market wants to do. What happens, right? Just don't focus too much on 5-minute candles. I think SPX. Not too interested in playing memes, as I said, in short term, but we can have a look. I didn't like how this 12-hour closed on SPX, to be honest. I'd say I don't have that much of a read, to be honest, on this. Like, no. Would refrain to comment much because I usually comment on things where I can say something with conviction. This is not the price action I have that much of a read on. Hype. Hype doesn't look bad. The only thing I want to see on hype is these previous all-time highs from June to be reclaimed above. So I'll mark it as previous all-time highs. Okay, why am I setting it? So these were your previous all-time highs, and if hype is able to give a clean reclaim above, the last one seemed just to be like a top deviation, and we sold back down. If now for the second time we are able to reclaim above 45.8, I think that's a good long to be taking. Where your long setup would look something like this, where you have stops below this recent wick, you wait for this reclaim. Your first target would be sweep of these highs on the left, so which is like almost a 1 hour trade for your first TP, and then remaining for new highs if you get right. So this is the trade setup that I can look on hype. Do we have a stream scheduled right now? Yeah, we have Musa and JD hopping on. So let me just summarize in the end. It is that ETH is something I can be really bullish on with conviction. And a low leverage swing on it is always running, regardless of whatever happens intraday. ETH is more of a midterm play, similar to what we did back in like mid of July, and we got paid heavy for it. I'm expecting the for me to be doing the same on ETH at this range breakout, so not touching this position much. Now coming back to intraday, if we are bullish lower time frame, this should be it, and we should be curling back above after this sweep below 120. And my first targets would be our today's highs at 122. This would be our first TP, and there's remaining around 125 if we get right. So that's on intraday. But let's say if our scalp gets invalidated and we take this 1.3% hit, then I'd expect these weekend lows to be taken out, and then ideally around 115 till 116 is where I'd want to bet on Bitcoin. On ETH, I'll still continue to be long and not touch it much, as I think we look really good on ETH, to be honest. Griffin, I'm still holding. Zora is a scalp that we entered on stream. I posted in my corner. Still looks good. First TPs around these sweep of previous highs. And once we sweep those highs, you move your stops, break even, and let remaining run for higher, right? So that's it from my side. Hope people had a good time. Talk to people soon. Any updates that there would be, I'd share in my corner. Till then, have a good time. Take care. Allah Hafiz. So what do you think about SUI? I think watch this stream recording again, and I have talked about SUI. And what I think of right now is that I want to leave. So have a good time.